Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I want to share with you how to find copywriting clients fast. These are 3 strategies that I've used to secure copywriting clients that pay up to a few $1,000s a month pretty easily. And I've been copywriting now for 7 to 8 years. I've written for a lot of big publications and brands. So I've been around the block in terms of trying out different strategies, job boards, and I've been all over the place. So I know what works the best, what doesn't. I just want to share with you the 3 best ways to start finding freelance copywriting clients, especially ones that pay a lot. So to jump straight into it, the number 1 strategy would be cold emailing. And I know that a lot of people dread cold emailing because it's related to cold calling, which tends to have that reputation of being very unoptimized. You need to do 100 calls before you even get one interested lead. But cold emailing is nothing like that. It's many times more measurable, scalable, and just time efficient. So let's say that you sent out 40 different cold calls and they all take 5 minutes each. That's a good 3 to 4 hours. That's half of a workday. But you could send out 100 cold emails that are customized in less than half that time. And I've used it to land clients that pay me up to $4,000 a month. So, and a single client like that could pay for your entire living depending on where you live. And for example, take my buddy Evan at Wise Media. I taught him actually how to do this system. He sent out 20 emails and 11 of them turned into hot leads and many different meetings and clients. It was his first time cold emailing. So it's insane. It's actually really effective when you have the right system down pat. And I'll be showing you how to do it because most people actually do it wrong. They copy and paste messages. It's unpersonalized. I'm going to show you what to do and what to avoid. And then another example would be my other friend Dalton from Hover Media, where he did his first campaign. His open rates were around 87% and his reply rates were 11%, which if you've ever done cold emailing or sales, you know are amazing, amazing numbers. And these are just 2 examples of close friends of mine that are also in the marketing field to some extent that had a lot of success with cold emailing, and they're really new to it. But I mean, there's so many companies like Salesforce and others that are practically built off cold emailing, and Salesforce is a good example because they actually increased their yearly revenue by $100 million through cold emailing. And there's a great book called Predictable Revenue by Aaron Ross explaining how to do it. But to begin, the first step for cold emailing would be making a list of potential clients. So you need to essentially make a list of domains of companies you'd like to work with. So there's a lot of different ways to do this. The first one would be manually searching on Google for different industries, niches, and keywords. The second way would be using databases like ZoomInfo, AngelList, Crunchbase, Leadfair. Many of these are actually free, by the way. So you don't necessarily have to pay hundreds of dollars a month or whatever it is to get these databases. But let's use LinkedIn, for example, because it's free. You can type in a keyword into the search bar, hit enter. So for example, I put in B2B agency, and then you'd want to filter by companies from the drop-down menu. After that, you would click the company page of any business that seems like they'd be a good lead, and then there's almost always going to be a website link. Usually there's a visit website button, and what you want to do is copy and paste that into a spreadsheet to stay organized. And once you've done that, for maybe 10 to 20 leads to begin, you want to start kind of easy. You want to go on to the second step, which is actually running these domains through a tool. It's free, but there's a paid upgrade as well. It's called Hunter, and the URL is hunter.io. So what you do is put the URL into the tool, and it will find all the email addresses associated with this domain by scanning the internet for press releases, social profiles, and websites, and then it gives you the emails that you can use. Now, what we're actually looking for is to find decision makers like content managers, vice presidents of marketing, chief marketing officers, marketing directors, and people that essentially would be in charge of copywriting and content marketing for a business, because then we can directly reach out to them versus cold calling, for example, where you're always going to hit that secretary and then going to have to go through different people to get to the right person. But here, you can go straight to the source. So similar to the first step, you want to take these emails you're getting and plug them into maybe the same spreadsheet or a new one just to stay organized. And then once you have the decision makers for those companies you mapped out, you can go to step 3, which is sending personalized emails. Now, remember, do not send copy and pasted messages. It's really easy to see through. And if you actually personalize your emails, it's going to drastically increase open rates, reply rates, and conversions. And actually, pretty interesting enough is so many clients I've cold emailed and that I landed through cold emailing, they told me I was pretty much the only cold solicitation they ever responded to, let alone worked with, because it was sincere, it was genuine, and it was customized to them. It wasn't just a copy and pasted message, because even if you think you're sly, it's really easy to see through it. Now, a template that I've used myself, it's really simple, effective, and straight to the point, is right here on the screen. Pretty much I would say something like, hey John, my name's Carmen. I've worked with different brands and I've helped them with copywriting and content marketing to generate traffic and leads. I really love that you just picked up Dell and Microsoft as clients. That's awesome. I was curious if you needed any help writing content or copy at the moment. Warm regards, Carmen. And what you're doing with this is you're introducing yourself, and what you do as a copywriter, you're going to show off any portfolio pieces as social proof, and you might even link to your portfolio. And then very importantly, you need to give them some kind of custom compliment. So maybe you compliment them on clients they have, funding they've received recently, or something they've done in the community. And you always want to make sure you're using their first name in the subject line. So for example, it might be to John, hey John, question about company name, something like that. And then always make sure you're using their name and company name within the email. And once again, just customizing it to them as much as possible. And yes, it takes a couple minutes to do this per email, but it's much faster than cold calling. It's much more direct because you're going to the decision maker themselves. And it's just much more scalable, measurable, and efficient, as I've mentioned before. Now, once you've done this, the fourth thing to do would be to follow up. Now, it's been found that most of clients get closed in sales from the follow-ups. I've definitely closed people on the first email, especially with good timing, like they're looking for a new writer or they're beginning a new campaign and they need a writer. But most of the time, it's going to be the second, third, fourth, etc. follow-up where you actually close these guys. So you want to use templates like these where you essentially just touch base with them again. Maybe you share resources. You ask if you're speaking to the right person or you can be forwarded to them, if there's a good time to maybe hop on a call. So just try to keep the follow-ups very quick and snappy like the original email, because the reality is executives, especially when you're talking to founders, VPs, people like that, they're busy. They don't always have time to answer these random emails. So following up, eventually you will nail them at the right time and you'll get a response, even if it's a no or a maybe. Now, I'd also recommend using a CRM like HubSpot. Is free, and it just lets you track all your open rates, replies, organize your leads, make a scoring system, and ultimately just allows you to scale your cold emailing campaigns. Now, I want to talk about the next strategy, which is meeting people face-to-face at networking events and conferences. I never really used to like this, but years ago I started doing it, and it's amazing, especially if you come from a smaller area, because you can meet a lot of people, a lot of successful entrepreneurs, and you can also just make a good name for yourself in the community and make like-minded friends. So what I recommend you do is the first thing would be to find networking events to attend. So you can use something like Eventbrite or meetup.com where you type in an area, a keyword, you hit search, and then it'll pretty much give you a list of events that you can go to. And the idea is to go to any that are marketing related, business related, sales related. Even if there's writing ones, that'd be really cool too. I know there's conferences dedicated to copywriting. And I personally just mostly go to free networking events. You don't have to pay hundreds of dollars or more to go to these. In fact, I would, definitely advise you just go to the free ones to begin, get your feet wet, especially if you aren't used to networking. And then what's good to do is actually just make a list of the events you want to attend and go plug them into Google Calendar, which is a free app on both desktop and mobile. And then select a date, an hour, set the event's information and location. And then that brings me to step number 2 when it comes to networking, which is bringing plenty of business cards. You never want to attend empty-handed. And business cards just allow you to get leads, touch base with people, keep in touch, which is really big. You want to always email people after or allow them to have the opportunity to say thank you for meeting you or maybe follow up with a new opportunity. So you can use something like Moo to print custom cards. There's also Vistaprint. I like them a lot. And you can usually buy hundreds of cards for literally a few bucks, and especially when they have deals and different sales going on. But with Moo, you would just go to their website, select what kind of card you want with the desired size and corner style. And then you can either start designing it from a template, from scratch, or using a previous design of yours. So let's just say that you are customizing with a free template. You would just click any of the areas like the phone number, put yours in there. You would develop the back side, choose what quantity and paper style you want, and then finalize the order. And then you have hundreds of business cards, or even if you want to buy maybe like a few dozen to 50 to begin, that's cool too. And then there's step 3 when it comes to networking, which is dressing the part, because first impressions do matter. And it's actually found that we make a judgment of someone within the first millisecond of meeting them. And it's based on appearance, body language, and these subtle cues, because it's almost like an evolutionary mechanism. Like if we were back in caveman days and we saw someone that looked kind of sketchy, we would just avoid them to begin with. So we actually kind of still do that today. So if someone's dressed more professionally, they're clean cut, well groomed, you might just have this natural good impression of them. And you want to have that with other people too. So you don't have to suit up if you don't want to, but just business casual clothing like dress shoes, khakis, a sweater, a dress shirt, all that kind of stuff's really good. And it just makes you look professional, improves your branding and how people are going to view you when you actually give them your pitch and just tell them about yourself. And then the fourth step is just to chat it up and start meeting people. I know that it can be a little nerve wracking, especially if you're not very extroverted. I'm not either. So the best thing you can do is just warm up, start talking to people, and just remember that you're at a networking event. So it's normal to just approach people and ask what they do, and maybe you can have some questions mapped out, like what business do you have, what brings you here, have you been to this event before? Like have some questions mapped out before if you want to just make it a bit easier. But a lot of them, at least I know, the ones I attend, they typically have free food and free wine or something. It's actually a really good environment and vibe. So it's something to actually have a lot of fun with. But make sure that you're not just throwing your business cards out to everybody. Nobody likes those guys because you want to actually be interested in people. You know, ask about what they do outside of business, their hobbies, what got them into business, and just actually create that connection. And that's what's going to make people remember you and want to work with you and send you referrals. And then when you keep going to the same events, you just become very well known and it creates a good reputation, especially if you're in a small local community. Now, the third way to get freelance copywriting clients is to blog because you're a writer after all, so you should be writing in some way. I think blogging is one of the best ways to do so because it's actually been found that blog frequency directly and drastically impacts customer acquisition. So if you're blogging daily or multiple times per day, there is a 78 to 92% increase in customer acquisition. Even just 2 to 3 times per week is 70% increase. And even if you're only doing it monthly or less than monthly, there is still a mid double digit increase in customer acquisition. So it helps attract leads to your website. They can learn more about you, they can see your expertise, and then reach out through a contact form, a newsletter, some kind of funnel you set up. And what you want to do is be writing about topics that your customer or your client would care about. So marketing strategies, copywriting tips, things of that nature. What would they be searching? What are their pain points, their questions? Blog about those, and then your customers will be coming to you naturally. Now, I also recommend making your content very actionable, data-driven, offer step-by-step instructions, and that's going to make it stand out from everything else that's on the internet, give the clients a better impression of you, and they'll be more likely to reach out for your services. Now, learning how to get copywriting clients can really be what makes or breaks your business as a writer. I've been writing about 8 years now, like I said, and I have a steady stream of high-paying projects. And the secret really is just the 3 strategies I outlined today: cold emailing, networking and conferencing, and blogging. If you do these 3 things enough, you are going to have a constant pipeline of work while generating referrals and creating a legitimate brand for yourself as a writer. So I appreciate you guys watching today's video. Feel free to subscribe, share it, leave a comment, like it, and I'll catch you in the next one.